In this video, I'm going to be reviewing Tekken 8, and I'm going to be giving my opinions on it as a new player or beginner. This is my first Tekken game I've ever played. It's my first introduction to the franchise, really. I didn't even know about the other games until I saw this game, and I was like, that looks awesome, I need to try it. Fighting games in the past, like I've played Mortal Kombat 1, I've played Mortal Kombat 11, mainly it was just offline doing the towers and stuff like that, so I haven't been an avid fighting game player, but I enjoy them, and I wanted to try something new, and I absolutely fell in love with Tekken 8. In a day and age where games are constantly in early access, or have bugs, or are missing features, or have microtransactions, well, guess what? Tekken 8 doesn't have any of that. It was a complete game. It has a bunch of different game modes for it being a fighting game. It works online. It works well when you're just playing it offline. It feels so smooth. It has so much content. There's no microtransactions. It's just everything you could want from a full price game. You pay the price, you get what you expect, and in this case, you get even better. If you were thinking about getting Tekken 8, and you've seen some gameplay on it, but then you see people go into the move list, and you see this? Yeah, it scared me away too. It's, yeah, still scrolling. But you don't have to learn every move. Now, I play Victor, and I don't even know every move, and I've still been having a blast. There's multiple ways to play the game. First of all, if you just want to button mash and have fun with your friends, they literally have an easy mode. I'm just spamming Y right now, and I'm doing like a full combo. They have easy modes, and as you can see over in the left there where it says your specialty move, a power crush, a low attack. Even if you don't know what that means right now, if you just want to have a game where you're having fun with some friends over and button mashing, there you go. If you want to actually learn the game, but you're having difficulties with some of the controls, another thing that I think is amazing about this is they give you so much freedom. Like, for example, I play on Xbox. I have a really hard time pressing X and Y at the same time, and that's a really important move for Victor. I can just bind that to right bumper, which is obviously much easier for me to press. And then a move like this that is really good on Victor, where you have to press up, X, and Y all at the same time, well, because I binded it to right bumper, it comes out very easily, very consistently. Obviously, you have to keep in mind not button mapping something that was already applied to an existing button. You don't want to ruin your controls, but the game will give you a warning if you have something unbind. The next thing that I think is just super cool and super fun for a casual audience or for new players is the character customization. It's ridiculous in this game. This is the main Victor that I use. I think it looks pretty damn cool. There's a bunch of different like hair options. You can change eye, facial hair, makeup. There's a bunch of different props that you can put on the head, helmets. You can change entire like bodies or suits. You can change the upper body, you can change the lower body, the shoes. There's a lot of customization. You can even change the color of all these things. Now, if I wanted to, I could go and then you have the entire color spectrum that you can go through and start changing things. Here's some of my favorite customizations for Victor that I've made. Now, if you're a Jujutsu Kaisen fan, you might recognize this. I based it off of Nanami, and I think it just looks awesome. Some of the things you can create in this game are so cool. I should also just mention, if you're not sure who to play, well, you have a lot of options. There's 32 characters in this game, and with some of my previous Mortal Kombat experience, it normally launches with around, what, 20 to 24, I think? Having 32 characters is, as far as I understand, unheard of in a fighting game, and there's more DLC characters to come, so you have plenty of options and plenty of play styles. To talk about some of the game modes that the game offers, there's actually quite a few, especially considering it's a fighting game. First of all, it has a story, which, once again, if you've played Mortal Kombat, it's a full-on cinematic cutscene story. It's actually very cool. If you're a Tekken fan, the story is honestly really good. It's probably the best yet. After getting into this game, I went back and watched some of the previous stories just to fill myself in, and this one is probably the best. If you're not a Tekken fan, then the story is still worth a playthrough at least once. It's over the top, crazy, anime, just goofy, doesn't make any sense, but it's awesome and the visuals look amazing. They also have a game mode called Character Episodes, which I guess specifically gameplay-wise isn't any different, but there's specific stories for every character in the game. You can go through, each character has, I think, 5 fights and then a cutscene at the end. And it's not just a little, like, visual novel style cutscene, it's a full-on CG voice-acted cutscene for your specific character at the end. They also have something called Tekken Fight Lounge, where it's kind of like a lobby system, where you and your friends, or you and just a bunch of other random people, can run around an old-school arcade-style, like, little map. It's kind of like Mii's from the Wii, where you can run around with your character and you can sit at an arcade machine and challenge people. And it's pretty cool because if you have a group of friends, you can all put them in there and you can take turns battling each other without having to set up a online match and connect to each other every time. You guys can just wait in the lobby. Or also, if there's a streamer, I guess a streamer could just sit at a arcade machine and then all their viewers could join the lobby and take turns playing them. There's also a game mode called Arcade Quest, and I think this is one of the coolest additions, at least again as a beginner player. This is that same kind of style where you have your little avatar and you're running around challenging people. The only thing is, it's not online. All of these are CPU-controlled people, and there's a little storyline where you talk to this guy, and he teaches you how to play the game, and you go through tutorials, and it's actually very good. It doesn't hold your hand. There's a bunch of different arcades that you can visit, and each one has harder opponents, and before you go into each arcade, you'll get a new tutorial. So it kind of it eases you into it without just going, here's everything, right at the beginning. And especially for new players to Tekken, or just new players to a fighting game in general, it can be quite beneficial. I even found myself learning a few things from going through a tutorial, which most of the time I feel like tutorials aren't useful in games. You can just go up to random people, you can talk to them, and then you can press Y to battle, and you'll go in and fight their character, and then you'll earn points and rank up, and it will like simulate you becoming a professional Tekken player. There's even some people who have a chest, and if you beat that person, then you get like a skin or an unlock or some sort of customization item that you can apply to your avatar or even to a character. When you enter a new arcade, it will give you some like little missions to land like a 60 damage combo, or to land 3 low attacks, or just random little things like that to help you figure out the game. So when you challenge somebody, it picks a stage. They also have customized, like randomly customized characters, so it lets you see a little bit of the customization options available. And when you beat somebody, you'll have your little guy that tells you great match, and then you'll see your points go up, and you'll start to rank up, and that will like simulate you moving up the ranks to be able to then challenge new arcades. Arcade mode was the first thing I played when I went into Tekken, and I would recommend, unless you really want to get into the story, I would recommend arcade mode being the first thing for a new player to play as well. Because honestly, I had a lot of fun playing it. Like I said, it taught you the game, and it gave you a lot of customization unlocks as well, which was really cool. Now, if you're fairly good at fighting games, or even just have played them in the past, it might be kind of easy, or especially as you learn the game. If you learn the game pretty quickly, the fights aren't really going to be that challenging, but it's still just a really cool option to have, and some really solid single player content. Another option that they have, or another game mode I should say, because this one actually is a completely different game mode, is Tekken Ball. And what this is if you've ever seen Dead or Alive, It's like beach volleyball from Dead or Alive, except for you still have your normal character moves, and you use your fighting game moves to hit a volleyball to the other side and try and do damage to your opponent via the volleyball, or I guess beach ball. Hitting the beach ball into the sand or into your opponent and dealing damage to their health bar. It's very silly, but it's honestly a lot of fun. I found myself disregarding it to start, and then I decided to try it out, and I ended up playing it for like an hour and a half. It was a blast. Another thing that I think is absolutely awesome, and I didn't even know existed, is Super Ghost Battle. And what that is as you're playing online, I believe as you're playing at all throughout this game, the game is realizing how you play, and it's creating an AI of yourself that recognizes how often you do moves, how often you drop combos, how often you block, how often you get hit by things, and it's calculating all that to try and best replicate your playstyle. And you can actually play against your own ghost to train it to get better. And mind you, if it starts beating you, I guess it will start getting worse because it goes off of your playstyle. But the best way to explain this is I went in and I played against my ghost. I beat it 3-0. It was pretty easy. After the match, a little notification popped up that said learning. Like learning ... And I was like, okay, interesting. The following match, my ghost took me to Game 5, final round. It did exactly what it said it was going to do. It downloaded my playstyle, it started playing just like me, I barely beat it. It is awesome to see that the game is able to recognize your playstyle and honestly replicate it so perfectly. I think every now and then you might have to go back into Super Ghost Battle to train your ghost up a little bit. It seems like if I go and play online for a while and then come back and fight my ghost, I'll be better than my ghost. So it might be something you need to actively go back to get your ghost to be better. But another thing is everybody has a ghost. So if you play somebody online, you say you guys have a best of 3 set and you barely lose or barely win or whatever, and you really want to play that person again but they leave, you can download their ghost before you leave the lobby or before you hit the end screen, and then play against their ghost to either get more experience against that specific person or get more experience against that character. It just gives you a lot of options to help learn the game. And speaking of learning the game saves every replay you have. So if I wanted to go in and watch me fight against my ghost, I then can play the replay and watch and study what I do. But also, the game tells you possible punishes that you can do. It will like freeze and be like, oh, in this scenario you need to punish with forward 4 or, you know, whatever it might say. But regardless, not only can you look at your footage, it will tell you the most optimal thing to do to get better. Now, if you're still scared to go online, there's a ton of things that you can do offline. Pretty much everything I mentioned you can do offline. The story, arcade quest, the ghost battles, the whole entire arcade mode I was talking about. You can play versus against the CPU, you can go into practice, you can play Tekken ball against the CPU. There's a lot even just for the casual player here. If you do want to go online, you can go to the Tekken Fight Lounge, as I mentioned, and be in a big lobby of players. It has ranked, which it's classic ranked. you win a match, your rank goes up. You lose a match, your rank goes down. And so far, I've played very little ranked, but so far from what I can tell, it seems pretty good. I have yet to get matched up with somebody that's like crazy better than me, or somebody that's like really worse than me. There's obviously matches where I get my butt kicked, and there's obviously matches where I just mop the floor with somebody. But it's still close. Most of the time, you know, I'll still get around, or they'll still get around. I've yet to find any crazy skill gaps in rank, so I think the matchmaking is pretty good. And speaking of matchmaking, the netcode and the rollback in this game is absolutely amazing. I've been playing for about 2 weeks, and I think I've quite literally had 1, maybe 2 games that have been laggy. I've felt little to no input delay, I've felt no lag, I felt no stuttering, anything like that. And even through crossplay, which, did I mention this game has crossplay at launch. If you're on PC, you can play with an Xbox person. If you're on Xbox, you can play with a PS5 player. It's crossplay every platform, and a lot of times you don't even notice it. The game just runs so well that I don't even pay attention to what system they're on. But of course they also have quick match. If you're scared of ranked like I was, you can go in, do quick match, and it doesn't keep a rank or anything like that. It does keep track of your win-loss record that you can go and check out in like settings or I believe play data there at the bottom. But it's, you know, it's fairly light. People are just goofing around, playing whatever character they want, not taking it too seriously. I didn't expect to make a review for Tekken 8. If you look at my channel, well, first of all, I have videos for everything. I'm not quite sure what I'm even doing here yet. But I don't have reviews, I'm mainly just gameplay. I'm only making this review because I can so honestly say I'm enjoying this game so much, and so much more than I expected. It was literally just a game that I saw the trailer for, and I had been really enjoying Mortal Kombat 1, and I was like, I want to try and expand, and I want to try another fighting game, and I am so glad I played this. And if you're considering at all picking it up, I can't say enough positive things about it. I mean, you just watched this video. It has everything, honestly. And I'm, of course, probably biased because of how much I've been enjoying the game, but I can also honestly say I'm not sure how many problems it has. I've played it for about 2 weeks, and I've realistically yet to run into a problem or something that made me mad or anything. I mean, the only time I've gotten mad is playing somebody way better than me and getting my ass kicked. If you're considering it all, please pick up this game, do yourself a service. It is so much fun.